Coming up on Fulton Today, county and state officials meet to discuss transit and tax assessment issues. We'll have a full report. Also, seniors go red to raise awareness for a disease that affects countless women. And find out why 2018 will be a busy year on the election front. That and more starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis Rucker. The conversation about how to best move Fulton forward in terms of transit, well, it makes its way to state lawmakers. And while they're having this conversation, they also discuss the tax assessment system. FGTV's Brian Robinson joins us now with more on this story. Brian?
For the first time, county officials hear the delegation's thoughts on not only transit, but the tax assessment process.
Inside the Coverdell Legislative Office Building, Fulton County's House delegation finally had its say on key issues county leaders have been addressing for months.
It is the managed lane system plan, and in concert with that, BRT works.
The main topic of conversation during this short meeting was transit. Just as commissioners and the county mayors were presented with transit options last December, the delegation was given that same presentation. Though the commissioners and the majority of the mayors agreed the BRT-ART scenario was the best option, questions of how to execute that plan or any transit plan arose.
As we move forward, obviously investing in transit is important. How much, where, those questions still need to be answered, and how that mechanism is put in place. Is it going to be a vote by the people? Is it going to be some other fund source that we don't know yet?
The Transit Governance Bill, which would create a regional transit system among 13 metro area counties, would also have to be weighed in with what county officials are proposing before moving forward with any transit plans.
We followed the market down, but we did not follow the market up again.
After recapping the tax assessment process of 2017, Chief Appraiser Dwight Robinson informed the delegation of the changes made for the 2018 process based on feedback received from citizens. Fulton County has invested in an improved property assessment process that includes new technology, additional staff, and a process review. In the end, the chief assessor says citizens will see a more timely and efficient process, a better understanding of how their property was assessed, and a better overall customer experience. The county feels it's making progress with the delegation on these issues and others, but as the clock continues to wind down on this year's Georgia General Assembly, the goal is to do what's best for the citizens of Fulton County.
And there are some very, very important bills that will have to be decided upon by the legislature that will impact, hopefully positively, the citizens of Fulton County. So we're working in conjunction with the state legislature to make sure that whatever is passed is proper and appropriate and positive for the residents of Fulton County.
Since this was an abbreviated meeting, county officials and the delegation are expected to meet again for a more in-depth conversation. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Brian Robinson.
Thank you, Brian. 2018 will be a busy election year for the county, its municipalities, and the state.
I'll call this meeting to order.
The Board of Registration and Elections conducted their first meeting of the year to discuss its plan of action. On the agenda this year is a May primary that includes county elected officials, most notably Commission District 1, 3, 5, and 7. A June runoff, a gubernatorial election in November, and a possible runoff with state and local offices in December will also take place this year. With so many elections, the goal is to bring in more help.
We are always looking for new poll workers, getting an infusion of younger tech-savvy poll workers and people with the ability to be able to break down equipment. You know, each polling booth or each of the touchscreen voting units weighs about 40 pounds. So it's always good to have people that have the strength to be able to do that, can go through the training, pass the tests, and serve on a long, hard election day, learning a lot of procedures and serving the public.
Now, if you're interested in helping as a volunteer, call 404-612-7020 or log on to FultonElections.com. And we have more details on how state lawmakers are trying to tackle both the tax assessment issues and the elections. In response to Fulton's rapid growth and the resulting higher property taxes, bills are swiftly moving through the Georgia legislature that would cap the growth in annual tax assessments at 3% or at the consumer price index, whichever is lower. This process is called the floating tax exemption. Now, county officials are keeping an eye on that legislation and also a number of election bills. State Bill 363, if approved, would remove the population-based requirement to keep polls open for municipalities and would allow for early tabulation of ballots on Election Day.
We've got a growth in the number of folk who are taking advantage of early voting. And so while this is a good thing, it certainly does put additional layers of work on our team members. And so we're looking for the opportunity to perhaps earlier, before poll closing at 7 p.m., begin the tabulation of those in-person absentee ballots.
And on that transit front, legislation could be proposed to address long-term funding projects needed to boost the economy. Homeowner protections is also on the agenda. We'll have more on this story coming up in our district-by-district coverage. And in other county news, another group of residents who have had a run-in with the law are given another chance to start over. FGTV's Felicia Church explains how drug court may have saved more lives than one.
This crowd of family and friends filled Assembly Hall inside the Government Center to watch their loved ones graduate from Fulton's Accountability Court Felony Adult Drug Court. It's an 18 to 24-month program that offers offenders looking to turn their lives around an alternative to jail.
Drug court is a referral-based program, so if you reach out to your attorney, a judge, a family member can even make the inquiry on how do I get my family member into drug court.
Once in the program, offenders must adhere to a rigorous set of rules governing behavior, participate in a court-approved treatment program, regularly appear before a judge to review progress, and submit to random drug screenings. Drug court is beneficial for the county as well as the participants. Along with keeping the jail population down, it also gives participants the second chance they haven't been given and offers a new outlook on life.
It teaches you to grow, to develop. I'm 62 years old, and you're never too old, and I have a new beginning.
This time last year, there were 4 graduates. This class had 12 graduates. 15 are scheduled to graduate in the next class.
So to see the growth and to see people sticking with the program, times have changed. There's new leadership in Accountability Court, and I think that we speak volumes, and you can see the growth in our numbers.
The program is amazing because of the hard work of the staff. The graduates are amazing because of the hard work they put in. They have seen rock bottom. They don't like it. We give them the tools to climb out, but they do the climbing, and they're experts.
To learn more about Accountability Courts, you can call 404-612-2400. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Felicia Church.
Love that program. Thank you so much, Felicia. Meanwhile, if you are looking for a way to give back to your community, listen up. The recruitment for the Sheriff's Office's annual Citizens Academy, well, it's underway. The class is designed to support the agency's mission to provide support and educational services to the community as a method of preventing and reducing crime. Some of the subject matter that will be covered include CPR and first aid, a tour of the jail, use of force, code red mass evacuations, and special unit presentations.
It is our 7th year hosting this program. It is Sheriff Jackson's priority to ensure that the agency is transparent to the community that we serve. He wants the citizens to know about the daily operations of their sheriff's office.
The Academy usually features a diverse group of residents, business owners, and community leaders. Classes begin April 25th and meet once a week for the following 6 weeks, culminating on May 30th. Now, at the conclusion of the final class, there will be a graduation. Applications are due by March 23rd. If you are interested in signing up, you can call the Fulton County Sheriff's Office Community Outreach Section at 404-612-6624 or send an email to this address shown right here on your screen. And still to come, Fulton commissioners change the way they select their chairman. We'll have that story in our district by district coverage next. Governor Deal appoints a Fulton commissioner to the State Workforce Development Board, and the Board of Commissioners modifies the way it names its chairman. Here's this week's district by district coverage. We began with the new process commissioners will use to choose their new vice chairman each year. In a resolution initiated by Chairman Rob Pitts, the board approved the following changes. The board member selected to serve as vice chair will be chosen from the members of the Board of Commissioners on a rotation based on seniority. If two or more board members are of equal seniority, then the selection would be made based on the numerical order of their respective districts. The position would also alternate so that no board member would serve a second year as vice chair until all members have served at least 1 year.
And I thought and still believe that if there was some structure, so you just know it's not that big a deal anyway, but it adds some structure to it. You know whose turn it is, and that takes all of the drama out of it. So that's why I proposed it, and it was passed.
The chairman says the goal of the plan is to provide an opportunity for the maximum number of board members to serve in leadership. District 2 Commissioner Bob Ellis is currently serving as the vice chair. The vice chairman is authorized to preside at meetings of the Board of Commissioners in the absence of the chairman and to fulfill the duties of the chairman in the event of the chairman's position becoming vacant. District 1 Commissioner Liz Hausman is now officially a member of the State Workforce Development Board. The North Fulton representative was appointed by Governor Nathan Deal. Commissioner Hausman will be tasked with administering workforce innovation and Opportunity Act funds across the state and overseeing the governor's state workforce development initiatives. Commissioner Hausman is the vice president of Government Affairs for the Greater North Fulton Chamber of Commerce, a vice chair of the Atlanta Fulton Water Resources Commission, and a member of the House Commission on Transit. District 5 Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. lends his support to a state lawmaker who wants more protection for Georgia homeowner rights. The commissioner is supporting the Community Association Protection and Transparency Act introduced by District 62 State Representative William Bodie. The legislation, which is House Bill 748, calls for more protection of Georgia homeowner rights through better operation of homeowners associations and other community governance entities statewide.
This bill is very much needed because we need uniformity throughout our Georgia counties. A lot of our counties are treating these associations differently, and we believe that this will add clarity, it will protect Georgia homeowners, and it will provide transparency for those members that reside in community association and homeowners associations.
Each year, Commissioner Arrington sponsors a homeowner association summit with other commissioners and leaders from across the region.
I think this is a very important time for us to do our usual resolution.
And finally, District 6 Commissioner Emma I. Darnell pays tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a resolution that encourages all citizens to perform acts of kindness and service to others. The commissioner introduced the resolution during the January recess meeting.
In Fulton County and in Atlanta, Georgia, the place where he was born and the place where he is now buried, we have given honor to Dr. Martin Luther King. Not so much for who he was, but for what he stood for, what he believed in. Not so much because he did, in fact, lead a movement that led to the elimination of legal segregation based on race in this region, but also because of why he did it and how it was done.
Fulton joins the nation in its year-long commemoration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to remember the 50th anniversary of his assassination, which will be on April 4th, 2018.
I think the real reason we do it every year It's because our children and our grandchildren want to know. You know, who are your heroes and why do you honor them? Remember the words of Dr. King when he said we will live together as brothers and sisters, or we will perish as fools.
Now you can catch more of your commissioners at work all this week with the rebroadcast of the Board of Commissioners meeting right here on FGTV. And when we come back, seniors go red to address a deadly disease for women. Stay with us. February is American Heart Month, and all across the country, an effort is made to raise awareness about cardiovascular disease, the #1 killer of women. Cardiovascular disease, including heart disease and stroke, remains the leading global cause of death, with more than 17.9 million deaths each year, according to the American Heart Association. Again, it is the #1 killer of women. Now, Fulton County joins the campaign with a number of events and programs geared toward bringing awareness to this topic. Dr. Pamela Rochelle is the Director of Senior Services. Welcome to Fulton Today.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, we'll show off some of what our seniors were doing in just a moment, but as you well know, this disease does not discriminate in terms of age. So let's talk about just the overall annual observance.
Unfortunately, heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans. So in February, this month gives us an opportunity to raise awareness about the disease, and it also provides tips and activities and events to help prevent heart disease at home and in the community.
And now talk about some of the ways that seniors can stay heart healthy all year long and this month.
Well, exercise is one of the #1 ways that seniors can help prevent heart disease. And when we say exercise, it doesn't have to be anything really strenuous, but just activity. And it's always good to have a companion to do this activity with. And it's also an opportunity to participate in our multi-purpose and neighborhood center programs that provide health and fitness classes.
And not just working out, there are some other ways to stay healthy.
Eating right is also a good way to help prevent heart disease, and making sure that you get all of your annual tests and exams so that you really know what your health status is and that you are having regular conversations with your healthcare providers.
Good recommendations. And your final thoughts related to the American Heart Month?
Taking charge of your health is very important, not only for American Heart Month, but all year long. So please let us help you do that through our Fulton County Senior Services by participating in our health and fitness programming by calling 404-613-6000.
Dr. Pamela Rochelle, Director of Fulton County Senior Services, always great to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And speaking of Go Red Month events at senior centers decked out in their red, participants at the Helene S. Mills facility got in some exercise by way of dancing to kick off American Heart Month. The center's namesake, Ms. Mills, reminded her peers how serious cardiovascular disease is and encouraged everyone to stay active and engaged at the center. The American Heart Association reports 2,300 Americans die of cardiovascular disease each day. An average of 1 death every 38 seconds. And again, that activity helps to lower the risk. And one of the county's civic partners visits the College Park Health Center during Go Red Day. Members of the Coalition of 100 Black Women Mecca chapter were hard to miss in their Go Red attire. The ladies gathered to bring awareness to heart disease to the patients at the center.
And we know that heart disease, stroke, and diabetes affects us all. So if it's something that can be prevented, we want to make sure we're partnering with the community to share awareness, spread awareness, and make sure we can prevent it moving forward.
One of the things that we do is advocate on behalf of Black women and girls in the areas of health. So it is very important that we support a day like this.
Fulton's health centers offer limited primary care services, but routine screenings like blood pressure checks can help identify red flags that could lead to heart disease.
It's important that we know our numbers: BMI, blood pressure, cholesterol, and whether or not we're at risk for diabetes.
You can get more information about Fulton's health services at the Board of Health's website and main line. The Coalition of 100 Black Women is a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering African American women and girls through a variety of advocacy programs in several areas, including health. And still to come, the library is taking people back in time. We'll explain. Stay with us, everybody. Well, winter is still here, but soon it will be time for baseball to be in full swing. Before the ping of the bat can be heard this spring, you must register your Little Big Leaguer with one of the 3 county parks offering Little League Baseball: Old National Park, Sandtown Park, and Welcome All Park. Children as young as 3 years old up to 14 years old are encouraged to sign up no matter their skill level. Officials are asking parents and friends and community members to sign up as volunteer coaches as well.
We always need volunteers from our community to help these programs be successful. It's a great way to give back, a great way to mentor and help young people in our community and feel positive about what we're doing here in our community.
To find out how to register for spring baseball, you can call the Parks and Recreations Department at 404-612-7275. And finally, the present meets the past, sort of. In honor of Black History Month, the Atlanta Fulton Public Library System Special Collections Department hosts an African American genealogy workshop at the Kirkwood branch.
It's important to know what you came from for health reasons, for just peace of mind. People like to know.
Workshop participants learn how to use the library's free resources, such as the Ancestry Library Edition and the Heritage Quest database, to research African American family history. Though learning the resources was a challenge, the participants enjoyed learning about their ancestors.
For me, it's all about identity because I am an adjunct professor of African American Studies as well. So I let my students do a genealogy portfolio project for a grade, and it's all about identity, knowing who you are, where you come from, and you have to start somewhere, so you start with yourself.
I wanted to find out about my great-grandmother, and when I went out and typed in her name, I was able to find my great-grandmother. I found out that she moved to Birmingham around the turn of, around 1900. I found my grandfather's name and my father's name.
It's very important for your history, for your children, for your grandchildren, who are going to want one day to know what you're searching for. And if you can provide that for them, then they have their own history to build on.
If you missed the class, don't worry. The African American Genealogy Workshop is offered on a monthly basis in the computer lab at the Central Library. The next class is scheduled for February 21st at 2 p.m. And before we go, our reminder that FGTV wants to connect with you online. Be sure to follow FGTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. And you can watch a replay of this show or any other of FGTV programs anytime on our YouTube channel. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.